Beast Quest Sepron, Chapter 7. "You're right," said Eleanor. "This chain must lead to a golden collar like the one on Furno." "It's the only clue we have anyway," Tom replied. "We need to follow it. Let's fetch the boat." Tom and Eleanor pushed the boat back into the water. To Tom's relief, the new repair seemed to be holding, and the bottom of the boat stayed dry. They rowed around the rocks to where the iron ring was holding the chain, and then they pulled the oars onto the boat. Tom and Eleanor paused to look at each other. It was now or never. Tom could feel the cold fist of fear in the pit of his stomach. He could see that Eleanor felt scared too. As her hand reached out for the chain, Tom could see it tremble. He put his own hand on top of hers. "Don't worry," he said. "We'll be okay." "Will we?" asked Eleanor. Tom tried to smile, and then he shook himself and pulled the chain up firmly. "Heave!" he said, and the two of them started to pull on the golden chain, which was slippery from the seaweed that hung to it. Hand over hand, they followed the chain as it pulled the boat out into the sea. The thick mist folded around them, and soon the rocky island was out of sight. The surface of the sea was flat now, and all they could hear was the water splashing from the chain. "Try not to rock the boat," Eleanor said, and Tom nodded. It was best not to let Sepron know that they were close until they were really ready, but the chain was heavy. "This is hard work," Tom gasped, and then the chain slipped through his hands and fell to the floor of the boat. The boat lurched, and the water grew choppy. Eleanor grabbed the side and peered down into the sea. "There's something there," she said. "Something huge." Tom looked down beside her, and sure enough, a vast, dark shadow was gliding underneath the boat. He froze at the sound of a loud splash. Something had broken through the surface of the water on the other side of the boat. Huge drops of seawater rained down on him and Eleanor. Tom knew what he was going to see. Bracing himself, he glanced over his shoulder. Eleanor screamed. Rearing out of the sea was the huge head of the sea serpent. They were face to face with Sepron. The beast's eyes were huge and pale, flashing with icy anger. Shimmering scales in all the colors of the rainbow covered its head and neck, and the seawater foamed all around it. "Oh my goodness, it's beautiful," Eleanor whispered. Tom felt a sudden stab of joy. For all the beast's size and anger, it was beautiful. It should have been allowed to roam freely in the sea instead of being tethered here by magic. "Look at its collar," Tom said, pointing. "You're right, it's locked, just like Furno's collar was." A golden chain trailed from the collar down into the sea. Roaring, Sepron lashed his head to and fro, trying to free himself, and then he plunged back under the waves. The surface of the sea rolled as he vanished, and the boat rocked dangerously. Tom and Eleanor clung to the side until the water grew quiet again. Tom peered down into the sea. He narrowed his eyes as an idea grew inside him. Sepron was down there, somewhere, but the serpent could not hide forever. Tom knew what he had to do. He had to follow him into its depths. "I'm going in," said Tom. "If I can hold my breath for long enough, I should be able to unlock the collar with the key Wizard Aduro gave me." He pulled it out of his pocket and held it up. Eleanor gave him an anxious look, but didn't try to stop him. "Be careful," she said. "Don't worry, I will," said Tom. "There must be something I can do to help," said Eleanor. Tom picked up his shield and gave it to her. "Hold this, so that it reflects the sunlight into the water," he told her. "It will help me to find my way back." Slipping off his boots and the jerkin that he wore as a shirt, Tom sat on the side of the boat. He stared down into the deep blue sea. "While there's blood in my veins," he muttered, "I cannot fail. I will free Sepron." He took a huge gulp of air, and then he dived into the water.